Tango is the folk culture of Buenos Aires, a living expression of the city's soul. Folk culture, or folklore, is defined by the Royal Spanish Academy as a shared set of traditions, beliefs, crafts, songs, and stories passed from generation to generation. So if we really want to understand tango, not just as music or dance, but as the living heritage it is, we have to explore the deep connection between its traditions, its poetry, its music, its songs, and its movements with the birthplace and the culture where it thrived. That's what this podcast is all about. I am Maria Olivera, a tango dance instructor with over 20 years of experience both here in Buenos Aires and around the world. I am also a political scientist, a historian of the city of Buenos Aires, and a proud member of UNESCO's International Dance Council, as well as a jury member for international tango competitions. I direct Escuela del Abrazo in Buenos Aires, where we train dancers of all levels from many countries, with a holistic approach that embraces tango not just as a dance, but as a culture. Welcome back to Tango Music and Poetry Studies. I am Maria Olivera, and today we will travel to the very beginnings of tango's story, the period we call La Guardia Vieja. But before we dive in, I want to pause and thank all of you who listened to our very first episode. Your comments, your shares, your messages, they mean the world to me. It's really special to know you're enjoying this journey as much as I enjoy creating it. And speaking of episode 1, one of our listeners, Fabian Schulz, reminded me of something very important. Mi Noche Triste, the song that came to be known as the very first tango canción, meaning a tango with stylized lyrics that were no longer just playful or naughty but poetic, is also the one that brought lunfardo, our porteño slang, into tango poetry. Thank you, Fabian, for pointing that out. And here is a little note I just learned about that adds even more flavor to that original world. Carlos Gardel, who was an avid horse racing fan and a close friend of one of the most famous jockeys of his time, Ireneo Leguizamo, once asked the baker at the iconic Confiteria El Molino in Buenos Aires to create a special recipe in his honor. The result was the Leguizamo cake, which became the signature dessert of that café until it closed in the mid-1990s. El Molino, with its gorgeous Art Nouveau facades standing right across from the Capitol building, is now under restoration, and hopefully, not long from now, its doors and its cake will be back for us to enjoy. The Old Guard. From 1880 to 1920, Buenos Aires and Montevideo were cities in transformation, moving at a breathtaking pace. A city transformed. Imagine the port of Buenos Aires at the turn of the century. Ships arriving almost daily, unloading thousands of immigrants, most from Spain, Italy, Germany, and France. They didn't just bring luggage. They brought their languages, their food, their dances, their songs. These traditions met, mingled, and reshaped each other in the crowded streets, cafes, and conventillos. In this melting pot, tango began to emerge. At first, with traces of habanera rhythms, but slowly, irresistibly developing its own personality. The soul of tango, the bandoneón. One instrument came to define the tango sound, the bandoneón. It replaced the flute in early ensembles, bringing a voice full of sighs, pauses, and longing. It was invented in Germany by instrument dealer Heinrich Band. But before Band's model, the roots go back even further. In 1830, Karl Uhlig designed the first concertina, followed by Carl Zimmermann in 1849. The instrument was designed to be played in churches that could not afford a pipe organ. That explains its long, sustained notes and its profoundly melancholic character. Band transformed their ideas into the bandoneón. The one we use in tango is a 71-button model that could produce 2 sounds for each button, depending on whether the bellows were expanding or contracting. Though it was German-made, by 1910, the bandoneón was being produced almost exclusively for the Argentine and Uruguayan markets. In fact, by 1930, As many as 25,000 bandoneones were being shipped to Argentina each year. Between 1910 and 1933, nearly 60,000 bandoneones arrived at our ports. Unlike the accordion, the bandoneon can also produce a sharp, percussive sound when a player brings it down into their lap. This is used for the arrastre, a kind of dragging accent that signals dancers to anticipate the next note. Please keep this in mind for the day we study the orchestra of Pedro Laurens. And also, unlike the accordion, the bandoneon has no register switches. Its sound changes with the breath of the bellows, el fuelle, as we call it in Argentina, the same word we use for lungs. Both lungs and the bandoneon breathe, and with each breath, they'll tell a story. The Europeans brought it here, and from then on, tango's voice would never be the same. The first masters. The first great bandoneon virtuosos were Eduardo Arolas and Juan Pacho Maglio. Arolas' La Guitarrita from 1916 completely transformed how tango was interpreted and played. It opened the door to a more expressive, daring tango, one that could make dancers pause mid-step just to listen. The orquesta típica. But that is not the end of the story. Another key player entered the scene, the piano. At first, tango ensembles were simple, flutes, guitars, and violins. But as tango moved into larger spaces, these instruments weren't enough. Something more powerful was needed. That's when the piano appeared. And with it, a woman's name often overlooked in tango history, Eloísa Derville de Silva. Born in Cádiz, Spain, she studied piano in Europe and in Cuba, where her family lived for a time. At the age of 26, she came to Buenos Aires and married into high society. In 1872, she wrote the very first tangos ever put on paper, works like El Queco, Calote, La Multa, Yamique, and others. For decades, these pieces were attributed to a unknown author, but in fact, it was Eloísa. Remarkable, isn't it? The first person to immortalize tango on paper was a woman. With the rise of the piano, bands made up of piano, bandoneones, and violins came to be known as the orquesta típica. And one of the first to give the piano a strong, distinctive personality was Roberto Firpo. Early tango gems. Between 1897 and 1916, some of the most enduring tangos were born. El Entrerriano, in 1897, written by Rosendo Mendizábal, Don Juan, in 1898, written by Enrique Poncio, El Choclo, in 1903, by Ángel Villoldo.
De un grano nace la planta que más tarde nos da el choclo. Por eso de la garganta dijo que estaba un bichoco.
La Morocha, in 1905, by Ángel Villoldo and Enrique Saborido. The Poetry Corner, La Morocha and El Porteñito. Let's step into 1905 and hear La Morocha, a playful yet proud declaration of a porteña woman, a celebration of identity, joy, and devotion. Yo soy la morocha. I am the brunette, the most graceful, the most renowned in this town. I am the one who, to the countryman, very early in the morning, offers a mate, unsweetened. I, with a sweet accent, beside my little hut, sing a estilito with tender passion, while my man rides off at a trot on his half-trained horse. I am the Argentine brunette, the one who feels no sorrows and passes her days happily with her songs. I am the gentle companion of the noble porteño gaucho, the one who keeps her life for her man. I am the brunette of burning gaze, the one who feels in her soul the fire of love. I am the one who, to the little Creole, the most noble and brave, loves with ardor. In my beloved hat, under the arbor, on silver nights, with sweet emotion, I sing to the pampero wind, to my beloved country, and to my faithful love. I am the Argentine brunette, the one who feels no sorrows and passes her days happily with her songs. I am the gentle companion of the noble porteño gaucho, the one who keeps her affection for her man. Let's pause on the image of the noble porteño gaucho. The classic image we all have of the gaucho is that of the countryman wearing a poncho, dressed for riding, with a guitar by his side and a mate in his hand. But in Buenos Aires, the porteño gaucho took on a different shape. The urban version of the gaucho became what we know as the compadrito, a word you'll often see in tango lyrics, as we'll soon discover. And while we are here in the poetry of those early years, we can't forget Ángel Villoldo, author of the first version of El Choclo and also El Porteñito. This song became one of the earliest hits of tango, showing how words, music, and dance were already inseparable. El Porteñito. I am a son of Buenos Aires, nicknamed the Little Porteño, the most streetwise criollo ever born in this land. When a friend strums a tango on the guitar, there is no one in the whole wide world who can dance better than me. No one can match me when it comes to charming women, while others boast, all talk and nothing more. And when I take off the floor, I show myself completely securing a hot meal with the money I will earn. I am the terror of the tough guys whenever I step into a dance, because I respect no one in the whole gathering. And if someone gets cocky, trying to play the bully, I'll land him a punch and let him search for his maker. When money runs short, I spin a story for my girl, the cleverest one alive in the whole southern barrio. And as if from heaven itself, some coins drop in my pocket. And to the rhythm of the organ grinder, I dance the tango in her honor. But there is more. In those days, it was common to write multiple lyrics for the same melody. Why? Because one thing was to sing in a brothel, and another was to sing in a theater, let alone a high society ball. El Porteñito, version number 2. El criollo falsificado, or the fake criollo. This second version of El Porteñito is meant as a duet, to be sung by a man and a woman. Here, the man is an Italian immigrant, eager to pass as a true porteño, and the woman, she calls him out, laughing at him as a fake criollo. He says, I am a son of Buenos Aires. They call me the little criollo, the slickest and the streetwise for singing and for dance. Among the local girls I'm beloved. They all offer me affection. I'm the one who, among the best, always commands respect. She says, this extravagant fellow coming here to talk big, pretending to be a criollo, though he doesn't know the ways. He's just a farmhand foreigner, newly landed here, a counterfeit criollo with a story to spin. He goes, I'm terrific at the dancing. Any place there is music I go, and when I grab the guitar I can sing a milonga tune. She, don't bluff, no one is impressed. Go shave, come back later. Your game's been spotted, gringo, you might as well leave. He, don't play the bossy one, my patience is running thin, or you'll get a punch from me if I happen to lose my cool. She goes, come on then, Italian boy, show me what you got. He, I'll give it to you. She, also, nothing more, you can't even split water. He, just look at my fancy steps, my pose. There is no one who can beat me. And together. Because when it comes to tango, we are the slickest of them all, and we know how to earn our respect. Playful, sharp, and theatrical. This duet shows how tango could be both humorous and biting, a stage where identities clashed and mixed. Here is a question for you now. The version of El Porteñito we most often dance to today is by D'Agostino Vargas. Is that recording a tango or a milonga? If it is a milonga, then why do we call Villoldo's original a tango? We will return to this when we talk about the history of the milonga. Meanwhile, I invite you to explore the Vargas version, read the lyrics, find a translation, and discover how they connect back to Villoldo's originals. La Comparsita, the tango that never ends. And then, in 1916, a young Uruguayan composer named Gerardo Matos Rodríguez wrote La Comparsita. Soon after, Roberto Firpo, who we mentioned before, recorded the first version. 8 years later, Enrique Marconi and Pascual Contursi gave it lyrics that turned into one of the most heartbreaking tango songs. Si supieras. If you knew that still, deep in my soul, I keep that affection I once had for you. Who knows? If you knew that I have never forgotten you, going back into your past, you might remember me. My friends no longer come, not even to visit me. No one comes to console me in my grief. Since the day you left, I feel anguish in my chest. Tell me, woman, what have you done with my poor heart? Still, I always remember you with the pure affection I once had for you, and you're everywhere, piece of my life. And those eyes that were my joy, I search for them everywhere, but I cannot find them. In the abandoned room, not even the morning sun peeks through the window as it did when you were here. And that little dog, my companion, who would not eat for missing you, when it saw me alone the other day, it too left me. Even today, La Comparsita closes almost every milonga in the world. Some dancers feel it sacred, choosing not to dance. Others treasure it as the final embrace of the night. What about you? When the music starts, do you dance or do you simply listen? A new era approaches. As the 1920s arrived, the prolific Francisco Canaro, born in Montevideo, formed his first sextet and for the first time brought singers into tango orchestras. This innovation marked the transition into a new style, La Guardia Nueva, the new guard. And this brings me to another little quiz for you. When I say Guardia Vieja, what are the sounds you imagine? Many people today will name orchestras like Lo Muto, Canaro, or Donato. But here's the trick. Those orchestras actually belong to the Guardia Nueva. The truth is, people today don't really dance to recordings of the Guardia Vieja. Why? Because the few that remain are so scratchy, so raw, that they are difficult to play at a milonga. So when you think of the old guard, keep in mind, it's more a history to listen to and study than one to dance to. The Guardia Nueva, that's the chapter we will explore next time. Thank you for joining me on this journey into tango's early years. This has been Tango Music and Poetry Studies, Episode 2, La Guardia Vieja. I am Maria Olivera. Until next time, keep listening, keep feeling, and keep dancing. If you'd like to keep exploring tango with me, follow my work on Instagram at Escuela del Abrazo, on Facebook at Tango Maria Olivera, or visit escueladelabrazo.com, where you will also find my blog Acuarelas Tangueras, a space for reflections, stories, and deeper dives into tango culture. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, share, or leave a comment. It helps others find the podcast, and it helps me creating more of these for you. And if you ever feel like experiencing tango in its birthplace, check out the group immersion trips I host here in Buenos Aires. There is a chance to go beyond the dance floor, to live and feel tango as it's lived here. You'll find more information about those trips on my website as well.